Hey everyone, so what we're going to do today is go over altcoins, and I'm going to show you why most of your altcoins are going to go to zero or be mostly worthless. And then I'm going to show you when and where you should be buying altcoins and some cool historical snapshots that are really going to open your eyes. And then we're going to talk about how to actually choose the right altcoins, especially in a bear market, because if you do this correctly, this will yield you massively profitable results in the future. But you need to make sure that you are taking these decisive steps in order to take profit from these suppressed prices and getting ready for the next cycle. So if that sounds like something that is going to be good to you, okay, then go ahead and drop me a like down below, subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all things cryptocurrency, so that you can take advantage of these massive situations and opportunities in the market. So without further ado, let's crack on. Okay, so first thing that we're going to look at here is we're going to have a look at some historical snapshots from our trusty coin market cap website, and we're going to have a look at the same time period in 2014, 2018 and 2022, all three of the last bear markets and the current one that we're in today. So the point that I want to drive home to you guys, right, is that Bitcoin is king. Okay, now what I remember during these last bear markets, in particular 2018, what shocked me was how most people were just looking for like the next 10,000, 1,000x coin when, Bitcoin was at say like 6,000, Ethereum was at like $200, $300, right? Even though they were fairly confident that, Bitcoin and Ethereum might do like a 20, 30, 40, 50x, right? That wasn't enough for them. They wanted to take so much risk in an already risky market and go so far down the market cap. So you can see down here in like 2018, where people would be buying these coins that are like, no one had ever heard of, in hope of, some sort of moonshot price. And most of these coins literally went to zero because they could not hold all of the major cryptocurrencies, which typically survive bear markets, okay? So if we just have a look at some of these coins, right, in 2014, right, what's the first thing you notice across all three snapshots, right? Bitcoin, right? It lasts and it trends up with time. Yes, there are going to be outliers and coins that are going to make, 50, 200, 500, 1000x coins. There are going to be those, but they're few and far between, really hard to pick. And you need to be able to hold, right from the start to the very end to say that you actually made those gains. When most of the time, the best thing to do is at least expose yourself, in my opinion, at least 50% or more to Bitcoin, and be grateful for those returns, because these are still going to be life-changing returns for most people and are going to outpace anything in traditional markets and equities anyway. So if we just have a look at some of these coins like Peercoin, okay, in 2014, right, these coins were actually coins that people were talking about were going to be the next big thing. And if we have a look at May 2018 and we just type in Peercoin over here, right, what do you notice in the space of 4 years for Peercoin, right? It went from $2 to $3.37. Yeah, that's a nice sort of return, right? But you waited 4 years in an already extremely risky market, and if you had held Bitcoin, you'd have made 20x your money. Okay, that is an astonishing return. But people who are doing this sort of stuff, I could find you so many different coins, okay, that just did exactly the same thing. Okay, you just go down the list, okay. There are going to be outliers, but so many of these coins, look at these coins on the left. Have you ever heard of these coins ever again? Aurora coin, Vert coin, World coin. These are absolute junk, okay? The best thing that you can do is just hold all of the majors. And at the time, that would have been Bitcoin, Litecoin, XRP, these sort of things, okay? And that would have probably held you quite nice into the next market. And you can see the same thing with from 2018, the last bear market, to current prices, okay, is that you see so many of these coins, right? Let's just pick I remember Nano, for example, okay, was $8.75. It was all of the rage. Everyone was like, yeah, I'm scooping this up in this bear market for it's going to be basically the next big thing. And what do you see over here? Nano, right, 4 years later, right, is not even the same price. You're down about 90%, 80% of your investment, which is essentially your coin has gone to zero, right? If you put $1,000 in, okay, and you put $1,000, you now have $100. Fairly pretty much worthless. And you know, some of these coins literally just cease to exist, okay? Let's not mention BitConnect and some of these other coins. So, you know, when you look at this, right, does that open your eyes as to, you know, the sort of risk that you're already taking in an already risky market, and why during these bear markets you need to be making sure that you're holding mostly, if not all, Bitcoin, and know when to play the cycles, okay? And you look at stuff like Zilliqa, okay? You can see down here, that was 13 cent, okay? And you look at Zilliqa over here, what do you see? You know, at the minute, it's gone down by half its value. And I'm telling you, these things were like supposed to be the next big thing. Even in this bull market, people were making predictions about some of these altcoins. And in the end, you just end up losing out because you were not able to hold stuff like Ethereum, Bitcoin that had the absolute best fundamentals and had the highest market cap. And, you know, there's a reason why people hold these sort of blue chip sort of cryptos. Because they basically withstand the test of time, okay? And what is today's newest cryptocurrency? You know, I guarantee you that stuff like Solana, okay, stuff like AVAX and DOT, I'm not saying that they're worthless and they're not going to, you know, have their place in the market next cycle, but it's very likely that within that time there is going to be a new platform, something new that people don't expect, which is going to be all, you know, the next big thing, okay? And these will phase out into existence, and the same thing's going to happen in 4 years. You're going to type in, you know, have a look at AVAX, you're going to have a look at, you know, possibly Chainlink. I hold Chainlink, okay? But, you know, all of these coins like Tron, okay? Look at this, look, Tron from, it's now worth, again, less than what it was 4 years ago, okay? And what has Bitcoin done in that time, right? It's worth over 4 times as much, and you've taken on less risk in the first place. So that, I just want to get that through into your head, why it's so important to hold, right? So, you know, the way that you want to be playing this market, okay, is when the time is right, which we'll go through in a minute, okay, you want to make sure that you are picking, you know, Bitcoin, okay, as, you know, largely your biggest holding, which obviously also prevents you against that downside volatility, as well as, you know, giving you that upside that, you know you're going to get, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to spread your bets over not 30, 50, 100 coins, okay? Do your research, pick coins that are likely to withstand the bear market by having good market capitalizations and high market caps, okay? That tells you that there's a lot of money into these projects, okay? And, you know, they're more likely to withstand the test of time. Have a look at the fundamentals that you believe in. So stuff like, you know, Cardano, stuff like Ethereum, okay? They've been around, they've got platforms, they've got the developers, and they've got like marketing hype, and they talk to their user bases and all that sort of stuff. So these are all things that you want to be paying attention to, okay? And for me, anything outside of the top 100, okay, cryptocurrencies now, 4 years ago, 4 years before that, right, are not even worth holding. And if you do, you need to put in such a small, you know, part of your portfolio into that, maybe like 1, 3, 5% max, okay, if you're taking on that kind of risk, because the chance of that performing really well and outpacing all of the majors, okay, is not very likely. So, you know, just something that you want to be thinking about here. So that's essentially how, you know, we want to be, you know, picking, you know, our altcoins for the next run. So, you know, just be aware of that, you know. And if you did this right, and I managed to you know, to do this right by selecting about like 10 altcoins that I had in my portfolio, okay? And remember, you only need one of those 10 or two of those 10 to really outshine and outpace the market and take profits in the right place, okay, when that time is right, to actually, you know, vindicate holding those altcoins. Because remember, the only reason that you're holding altcoins in the first place is to outpace Bitcoin, okay? If it doesn't outpace Bitcoin, okay, then it's not worth holding. So in the last cycle, I managed to get into Cardano when it was at about, I got an average buying price of about 5 to 7 cents, and I sold all of my Cardano last February in 2021 at $1.06, because for me, 40x, that was completely job done, okay? So if you put in $1,000, great, you got yourself 40 grand, okay? If you put in 20 grand, then great, you got yourself like, I can't even do the calculation, just a lot of money, $800,000, something like that, you know, crazy money, crazy money. But you know, it's all about, you have to know how to play these cycles. So spread it into, you know, maybe I would say the top, maybe pick 10 projects, 5 projects or so, split your money into those, and, you know, likely one of them will you know, do 1 or 2 or 3 of them will do pretty well if you get quite lucky. But you're essentially hedging your bets, and you just have to know that most of these, I'd probably say more than 50% of them, okay, are probably not going to do that well in the long term. They might have their moments, okay, but even you look at stuff like XRP, that in this cycle, you know, compared to 4 years ago, where is XRP now? It's less than where it was 4 years ago, right? And XRP was, you know, the one big thing to hold. But the good thing about XRP is, you know, it has been around, and I do think that does count to have some sort of, you know, mover's advantage in the market, to, you know, withstand the test of time. So that's why I think certain coins, you know, you want that. You want them to have been around for quite a while, but you know, a lot of these coins just will literally go to zero, and they'll be listed on here, and then, you know, they'll essentially just have some sort of exit scam, or something won't go quite right. So yeah, just these things to bear in mind when you're looking at you know, altcoins and which ones to hold. So yeah, let's basically take a look at the charts now, and how you can, you know, decipher when to be buying into altcoins and when to be rotating, and how to pick the good ones. As we're about halfway through the video, okay, if you're getting value, you're learning something new, and I'm opening your eyes as to when and where to buy and what coins to choose, okay, and you want to be on this journey with me, where I'm going to be telling you to buy and sell, hit that like down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to keep up to date with videos. So without further ado, let's crack on. So first thing to note is we've got Bitcoin, okay, which is our staple asset that basically trends up and to the right and goes up over time, okay. Now, we've talked about Bitcoin dominance before, okay, which is massively important, and people don't really, I think, quite grasp this when they're sort of buying altcoins and stuff. But there has to be a time to position yourself into the market, okay, and basically you want to be positioning yourself, okay, in key moments when the Bitcoin dominance, okay, is high, okay, because what you can do at these levels, okay, is usually Bitcoin makes a big move up, okay, starts to take the power and the liquidity and all the money from the market, and when that Bitcoin makes its run, everyone FOMOs into that, then money will start to trickle down into, you know, the next capital market cap coins, so stuff like maybe BNB, Ethereum, XRP, Cardano, you know, those top 10s, and then the money will filter down, okay? But you need to be right here. This is where you start to transfer your Bitcoin into the top projects that you want to, you know, be holding for the long term. So at the minute, you know, Bitcoin dominance is still relatively low, and I think this is why I've said before that I think that we're likely to move up from here. So once we start breaking, say, 48% in this current bear market, okay, is that we, you know, once we start hitting these levels of, let's say, like, you know, all you're gonna do is look left, look at at least this level of about 50%, 52%. Maybe you can start converting some of your Bitcoin to altcoins, and the power of holding Bitcoin, okay, during these times is not only to prevent yourself from that downside volatility, okay, it gives you better buying power, okay, when the time is right, and you can actually convert your Bitcoin to those altcoins. When this is happening, you don't want to be converting your Bitcoin down here, okay, where basically the move is already done, okay. When you've moved down here, you have to realize that basically this is a period where altcoins have outperformed Bitcoin in a very high degree, and essentially it's sort of doing some sort of consolidation down here, okay. And the only time that you would take a chance, in my opinion, just using this chart alone, as to when you would, you know, transfer your Bitcoin into altcoins, is either if we started making an impulsive move to the downside, which at the minute I think is less likely given market conditions. We're not going to go over that because we know that we're in a risk off, you know, mindset in the minute in all markets. But you want to do it just over here, okay, where you're going to get a much better price for your altcoins, okay. So in the same way that you want to buy low, sell high, what you want to do when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance chart is that once we reach key levels, you want to sell your Bitcoin high, okay, and then start transferring it into you know, altcoins where, you know, their valuations are going to be smashed. So that's basically how we want to be looking at the Bitcoin dominance chart. It is important to note that I think that there will be some diminished returns and market maturity when it comes to reading this particular chart. So what I mean by that is that we're not necessarily going to get above, 72%, because you're getting more and more altcoins into the space, so they are going to start to take up quite a bit of liquidity and market and money from the market. So that means that Bitcoin is likely not going to have a big of a share in the market, because 2014 we might have had 500 cryptos, and we had 1,000, 2,000 in 2018, and then maybe now we've got like 5,000. Okay, so that is going to take up more money, but you can see that what we got in like 2014, Bitcoin was the main player. Okay, and then over here we made up our new high over here in the last bear market in 2020. So maybe this time, if we start to move up here, maybe we don't go above necessarily 70%, but maybe we can look at some key levels, okay, which we'll have a look at later on in the channel, and at a later point in time, that maybe these levels are going to be better valuations for exchanging your Bitcoins into altcoins. So maybe we don't surpass these highs, but maybe we reach percentages of about 55, 57, 60%. So that's how I would be looking at that diminishing effect in the market and market maturity over here. So we've spoken a little bit about some of the fundamentals and the number side of how to choose altcoins. So we want ones that have withstood bear markets before previously. You can have a look at that on like CoinMarketCap and have a look at historical shots. We want coins that have generally a high market cap, probably in the top 50, certainly in the top 100. Okay, but I would even say don't have take on probably any more risk than that, especially when Bitcoin is looking weak. Okay, and it's starting to take up more of a market share. So when that time is right, that's how we want to choose these coins. And remember, what is hot at the minute might not be hot in 6 months, a year, 2 years from now. Okay, so in terms of from a charting point of view, what we want to see is we want to see coins that at least oscillate versus Bitcoin over time, or show us nice patterns. Now, if we have a look at Cardano, for example. Okay, you can see that we had, quite a fair amount of nice market structure, and if you were able to see this at the time, you would have seen this as, potential accumulation. And then once we start to break up to new highs, you could tell that basically it was a coin that you wanted to hold during this market cycle. But you can see that, essentially over time we're creating higher highs, higher lows, and maybe we come down lower here on like Cardano, for example, but maybe we look to rotate and, eventually make our next run. When the time is right. We look at stuff like BNB. Okay, what do you notice over here as well? Okay, it's a great coin to be holding overall. Okay, because it's got historically, it's been around for quite a while. But in terms of the charting patterns, okay, look, you can see that we get making these higher lows all the time. Okay, and basically just showing continued strength in the market. So these are the coins that we want. We want coins that generally uptrend to up and to the right in terms of the chart. Okay, and if they can do pretty well versus Ethereum and at least oscillate like versus Ethereum, even better. Okay, those are the best ones that outperform Bitcoin and outperform Ethereum. Okay, because really Ethereum is the next one below Bitcoin that you probably want to be holding. Probably, like, let's say you had a 50% share of Bitcoin, you had 30% share of Ethereum, and the rest of them are in small pots. You want them to be outperforming Ethereum, but you don't need to take on too much risk to do that. But you can see BNB has done exactly that. Okay, it's going to have its moments where it's weak against Ethereum and Bitcoin, but overall it's a strong market contender. Now, these are coins that are obviously, chart wise, look pretty good. So take a quick look again at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin. You can see again, what do? We overall trend up and to the right. So that's basically coins and charts, which is, that coin versus Bitcoin. Check those out, and you'll know basically if they show some relative strength to Bitcoin. But when you start to move lower down the ranks, and let's just take a look at some of the ones in the last bear market or the last market cycle, stuff like Icon, okay, which I actually don't think is that much of a, that it's not really a bad project overall. Okay, but you can see from a charting perspective that we're moving down and to the right. Okay, so doing this and not showing any strength by like April 2021 last year, okay, when the move had already been made in all of the altcoins, okay, you are taking a lot of risk at these levels for, you know, some sort of moonshot pump, because there's nothing in the charts to show you that, and we just would have been creating lower lows here and not really breaking any more significant highs. Okay, the only way that that would have changed for Icon, as an example, is this was some sort of accumulation and we were managing to break and close above this key level over here where we could start to move to the upside, but you can see that never happened. So don't try and take too much of a gamble for some of these altcoins. Okay, you know, I remember like EOS, look at this, it's just a horrific chart. Like there is no point taking risk on these coins. Okay, EOS just down to the right. Okay, just severe downtrend, right? You waited so long, 4 years, 5 years, done nothing. Okay, and even some of the stronger contenders like Litecoin, look at that, it just goes down over time versus Bitcoin. It's not worth the risk. Okay, and you know, so I would just stay away from any of these sort of coins, okay, that basically go down and right. You're looking for coins that go up and to the right versus Bitcoin, and if you can get it up and versus the right versus Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is the ideal, that is what we are looking for. So we've spoken about some of those stronger contenders, and even stuff like DOT, for example. Let's just take a look at DOT, which is quite a hot coin that people like. You know, this isn't actually too bad. This could end up going, you know, down and to the right, okay? But at least it is a coin that oscillates, okay, versus Bitcoin and Ethereum, okay? It is at least an oscillator, you can see here, okay? Which tells you that it has its moments in the market and does not just lose value versus all of the majors, okay? A quick word on the relationship between Bitcoin and altcoins and when to be transferring your Bitcoin into your altcoins, okay, is that we know that, you know, when Bitcoin is loitering at highs, so like over here, and it's sort of consolidating in higher regions, altcoins can perform pretty well. Not necessarily in these parabolic moves, because, you know, Bitcoin is sort of taking a lot of the liquidity, but altcoins are still okay to hold here, okay? But, you know, the lower Bitcoin goes, that you better believe that if Bitcoin drops 30%, that your altcoin or your favorite altcoins are going to drop by 30, 40, 60, 80, 90%. Some of them will just be worthless, and they get shaken out so far in the market that no one will remember them, okay? But look for bottoms on Bitcoin. We can relate this back to the Bitcoin dominance and some of the prices that we've been talking about, you know, 20 to 30k as a potential bottom. So we're going to look for those sort of signs to give us a market at least reversal, okay, for when a bottom might be put in. But also the other thing that I want you to bear in mind is that people forget that if there is some sort of bottom and Bitcoin does make a run eventually, okay, when it will happen, because it will happen eventually, okay, Bitcoin will turn around, is that Bitcoin will likely lead the market, okay? You need to understand that, because towards the bottom of markets, there is so much fear, okay? People are still not ready to put their money into altcoins. Half of them are just scarred from all the money that they left. Half of them have just gone to zero. So the money is going to start flowing first into Bitcoin, and then it will start to flow into altcoins. And even then, you have to be selective, like we spoke about. So for example, down here in 2018, right, I can tell you, I don't even need to get up the charts, that at this moment, when Bitcoin went up about, you know, 350%, and remember, that is a massive, that's more than 4 times your money, okay? A lot of the altcoins only went up 2x, okay, which is still quite nice, okay? But again, Bitcoin, what it did is it outpaced altcoins over here, okay? And then when it went back down, it lost less value, and altcoins actually smashed down even further. And you can see during this COVID low that a lot of these coins, let's have a look at like Cardano, for example. You can see over here, you see, is that Cardano didn't go up as high as Bitcoin did, but when it crashed, it made an even lower low, okay? So you have to just sort of bear that in mind, that everything is very cyclical, okay? And there's moments to be, you know, converting your altcoins or your Bitcoin into altcoins or your cash into altcoins, and that likely Bitcoin will lead the market first, okay? And that the real mania phase usually happens, you know, you get a few select moments in every couple of years or a year in the year where you can take advantage of these moves, but it's really these mania phases up here where the altcoins really start to, you know, rally hard, and that's typically every 4 years in the 4-year cycle. And until that changes, we should expect the same to continue. So yeah, so I hope you got some value from this video, and this really gave you a bit of an insight as to how to choose different altcoins, opened up your eyes as to where you're going to be investing your money when the time is right. Subscribe to the channel, like the video if you haven't, to keep up to date, because I'm going to be leading you through this bear market, telling you where to buy when the opportunities are there. Until the next video, I will catch you next time.